Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Friday morning group for A Course in Miracles, the Teachers of God Foundation. Hello, love streamers, live streamers. And today we're going to listen to Lisa Natoli is in the house. Yay. Last time she was here, I think, was that the time she had that experience with Michael over here, where he had that healing happen, and that was awesome. And we're going to skip announcements until 10:30 today. We have a couple of big announcements for everyone. 11:30. We're going to skip announcements till 11:30, and so we'll just go ahead and go to our meet and greet. We're going to say hello to everyone. We want to make sure everyone's here for the announcements, and people usually come in late, and they'll get to be here. And sometimes you guys come in a little bit late because you think announcements are going to be at the beginning. But today we're going to fool you because we're going to make them at 11:30. And why don't we, and then we'll come back after the meet and greet, and Peter is going to give our thought for the day, and we'll be right back. So finish your coffee and see you in a minute. Did anybody make any coffee? Are you the camera person for the community meeting? Was that you? Last week? Oh yeah. Okay. I was watching the community that was a church service.
Hey everybody, we love you. What's up? What's up?
It's everywhere. It's all encompassing. I had a few words with Elaine yesterday.
Oh yes, she was all one whole day.
She was?
Yeah.
I sent her a picture. I didn't send you one. I sent her a picture of my youngest daughter. It's over 48 months. That she's been with for a same amount of time. Yeah.
Oh, sounds nice.
Yeah.
Settle down.
Okay, we're back, and if we can all have a seat, we'll get started. And Peter is going to come up and give us a thought for the day from the Cafe Gratitude, their calendar that we use. So, Peter, come on up. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. The saying for today is, we are the sum of a huge number of free actions for which we are the only ones responsible. To me, my thought about that is, yeah, we're the only ones responsible because we are the only one. There is only one. That's my thought about that. And at the bottom it says, how could you be a better receiver? Something for me to think about today. How could you be a better receiver? Let go of my preconceived ideas. That would be the first big step for me. So that's the reading for today.
Okay, they're having trouble with the video.
Oh, that's
so. You guys, I just did I press send?
Yes.
Okay, so I just typed on the board that we're going to go offline for just a minute, reset the router, and we'll be right back with the awesome Lisa Natoli. So we'll be right back. Are we back? We are? Okay. It looks like we're back. I'm not sure. Are you asking in the chat if we're back? I hope that's better. They have a live stream problem here at Unity. I'm not sure what it is. We're back. Okay, good. Welcome back, live streamers. Sorry about that. We had a reset on the router and And then we needed to, so that you could all stay, have sitting on the platform, we didn't want to exit everyone out. So we had to go back in to our live streaming platform. And we're back. And welcome. Hi. And we're going to do announcements at 11:30 because we're going to fool everyone that thinks that if they come late, they can miss announcements. Fooled you. And now we're going to please give a warm welcome to Lisa Natoli.
Yay. Thank you.
Is your mic on?
I think it is. Y'all hear me? Welcome, everyone. I'm Lisa Natoli, and welcome to A Course in Miracles Friday morning. And today I'm going to be talking about the connection between fulfilling your function and achieving your happiness. So A Course in Miracles talks a lot about your function. And I always just like to say this is about a direct experience. This is about the practice, the training. And it was so good yesterday. Bill and I were on a live Living in Purpose call. We have a group called Living in Purpose, and we have live calls 2 times a month. And yesterday we did our live call at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and we did a topic on I rest in God. And what's so interesting for me is when you see the concepts of A Course in Miracles, and you see the sentences and the language, and you hear the simplicity of just shift your mind, right? Just you see you're in conflict, just shift. Be happy, right? How come we're not all happy then? How is that possible? How is it possible that I, who have had A Course in Miracles since 1992, over 25 years, who sat with a master teacher for 10 years, I gave all my stuff away. I was living in New York City. I was working in publishing, had a great job, but I was totally in conflict all the time. And so I drank. Like, I really was like, there's something fundamentally wrong with this world, with the fear that I fear, like I have to hold everything together. I have to hold my relationships together. I have to hold my work together. And when I let my guard down for 1 second, things started falling apart. And even when I kept my guard up, things still fell apart. You know, like people just die and people divorce and you have these great partnerships, and then all of a sudden one day it's over. And so I'm somebody who very early on could see something's not right. We all know it deep in our core that this world is not our home. And so we search outside of ourselves for happiness, for peace, for security, for safety, for protection, and you can't find it. It's not out there. And so I, in a moment of just something out of nowhere, I heard there was this teacher in Wisconsin in a group of 250 teachers of God, and I moved there. Like, I didn't realize I was going to go there for 10 years. I thought it was going to be a 30-day retreat. And the second I got there, I knew, oh, yes, this is my next step. That was in 2001 in March. And I stayed there for a month in March. And then I went back to New York City and I gave all my stuff away. I just was like, I don't need all this stuff. And at the time, I was very much feeling like, oh, I'm supposed to give it away. I didn't know what I know now. I really thought I'm not supposed to hold on to anything in the world. I'm not supposed to want anything. And so I gave joyfully. I was like, yay, adventure time, right? Like, I'm going to this place. I don't know what the future holds. And so I sat with the master teacher for 10 years. It was amazing. I wouldn't change that experience for anything in the world. We had Tuesdays off to do laundry, and we met every single day. We met every day from 8 a.m. till around noon, and it was really like it was a community. Some people had homes. There was a lot of church housing on the property. I lived in church housing about a couple miles away from the academy. So how is it that I, who've had A Course in Miracles since 1992, have done the workbook lessons numerous times, have sat with the master teacher of A Course in Miracles, have dedicated my life to joy and peace and happiness, how is it possible that I was not experiencing consistent peace and joy? Right? How is that possible? How is it possible that I can read a sentence in A Course in Miracles that says, your function is to be happy? How come I couldn't just do that? Why was I constantly backsliding into conflict? And this is what we found out on our Living in Purpose call yesterday. So we opened the conversation up for people to share wherever they're at. And this is what we're here to do as teachers. And very quickly, it was so great because several people came on one at a time, and we actually saw a real live healing on the screen. Like this one woman was talking about, at first she was hidden. She didn't have her camera on. And she said, I'm sick. I can't get out of bed. I can't get out of this feeling. And Bill and I just were holding that space. That's what we're here to do as teachers of God, as ministers, as the light of the world. We're simply holding our own center for our brother the way another brother held the center for me when I was in conflict. And within minutes, not even minutes, it was like within a minute, she put her camera on. So I was like, that's like the first energy shift. Like you can see like this little changes in your mind where you think, I think it's safe to show myself. So she had the camera on and she's just laying in bed, and I put her on the big screen on my computer because I wanted to see her, right? Like I could see all the faces, and on Zoom you can't see much. So I decided to click to put her on my big screen, and she was in so much peace. She just looked like an angel. And we were reminding her, you're not that body. Your function is being accomplished already now as the light that you are. And then Bill took her through just a really great practice of awareness, which he's done in here, is what is aware of your experience. Does the awareness have an age? She said, no. Does the awareness have a gender? No. Her smile, it's just the smile on her face was like, she was so, because she was saying, I can't sleep. She'd gotten off some medications and that was causing other complications. And so we were inviting her just to rest. And I told her the story of what happened for me when I was going through physical symptoms for 6 years, trying to heal them. Bill, a year ago, said to me, he was on the phone, he was at a Rupert Spira conference, and he said, because I kept thinking, what have I done wrong? Why am I still experiencing this? Why can't I get out of this? And Bill said, can you just welcome it? What if it never goes away? And I was like, oh, right. Yes, totally. Because the I that I am isn't experiencing sickness, pain, suffering, sorrow. So if there is something that is aware of pain, sickness, suffering, sorrow, it could only be that I'm off-center identified as the body, trying from my off-centeredness to improve, change, or heal the body. But in the quiet, when you come back and you simply are resting, like, oh yes, right, here I am. Do you realize there's nothing to heal, there's nothing to change, there's nothing to do. There really is only peace and joy. And so our function is to remember that. And then what happened is she got out of the bed. She didn't know we were watching. She didn't know I had her up on the big screen. And she's listening, and all of a sudden there was just this movement where she propped herself up, her eyes then open, she propped herself up on the pillow, and it was just pure joy. And then she got out of the bed. She just was like out of the bed, and she's just so happy. And I was like, whoa, that's amazing. And that's the quickening that Jesus talks about in A Course in Miracles in 2,000 years ago, that light quickens us. Like, but it doesn't quicken you when you're over here struggling. Like, I got to get out of this sickness. I got to sleep. We're like, who says you have to sleep at night? Where'd that rule come from? Right? But we think, no, I should be sleeping. I should be active and healthy and vibrant and moving and like Bill and I, we have totally separate sleeping patterns. I sleep a lot. Like I go to bed at, I don't know what time, 10:30 maybe. Out like a light, boom, gone. Bill says it's like sleeping next to a dead corpse. I told him, I said, is it like sleeping next to a baby? He goes, no, it's like sleeping next to a dead corpse. And I'm gone until, I don't know, 6 or 7, 7:30. And he stays up till sometimes midnight or later. I mean, sometimes he'll come to bed earlier, and he's always gone when I get up in the morning. I'm always like, did you come to bed last night? And he's like, yeah. And so, but there's not a problem for him. There's not a problem for me. There's not a problem for him. Like you begin to really see the activity of the mind. And A Course in Miracles, for me, it is about the mind training. It is about the discipline. It is about the mind watching. And it is about making a decision for peace. And so I found all the different sections that talk about your function. So I just wanted to read some of them. So the topic for today is the connection between fulfilling your function and achieving happiness. That is a direct sentence out of workbook lesson 66. And these are I just pulled these from all over the place. So it says, forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. My function is to be happy. Joy is my function here. My happiness and my function are one. Your function is to be the light of the world, a function given you by God. That's your function. And what the ego does with that one is it thinks, oh, my Lisa Natoli's function is to be the light of the world. So then Lisa Natoli, the body identity, thinks, oh, I have to go make people happy. I have to be inspiring. I have to do good work. I have to be a generous giver. I have to, I have to be bright. I have to be a cheerleader. And I tried that for a long time. And all I did was feel exhausted and pissed off because nobody was acknowledging my good deeds. So that was really the place where you can get to see who's trying to be the light of the world. Because the light of the world is already being the light of the world right now in the middle of your conflict. It is. You're already shining. The light's already shining. It doesn't know of your problems. So in the resting place, when you begin to say, my function is to be the light of the world, it's to bring your awareness back to the truth of what you are, to stop being the body. Like I was reading, I went looking for this. I wrote here in the beginning of the book, everything you see is the result of your thoughts. There is no exception to this fact. And it said it's on page 258. I love that, right? Everything you see is the result of your thoughts. There is no exception to this fact.
Book, right?
This is in the purple book, yeah. But I couldn't find it on page 258. I looked everywhere this morning, but I did find Let's see. All right, now I can't find it at all. Not on page 258, but it was basically an idea that the body does nothing. Like that's what I can't find it in there right now. But I was thinking, if we put a corpse up here, right? Can it do anything? Can the body do the line that I read this morning said the body, right here it is, the body cannot communicate and it cannot create. That was the line. But we think the body can communicate. We think the body can create because we use our hands. We think, oh, I'm making something. No, the mind communicates. The mind creates. The body is simply the vehicle, the means for the mind to come through the body. So if we had a dead corpse, is that body doing anything? Where's the life in that thing? Not there. And is the thing that was in the body, where is that thing? Did it go anywhere? It's everywhere, right? Like all your loved ones, did they go anywhere? Like we can't, yes, it's upsetting that it's a different experience when there's a body around. And that's why Jesus said, I have to leave you. He said it 2,000 years ago, if I don't leave you, you're going to keep thinking it's me in this body over here. It's not me in this body over here. It's in you. And if I don't leave you, you're going to constantly be thinking it's over here. It's not over here. It's in you. And so the function as the light of the world is to begin to keep it so center in your mind that the light is what you are, and it's the light that does everything. All your creative ideas, all the love, that's what you are. And then you can use the body as a means for the extension. Like what I'm always saying is like, I feel that the work is not to figure out how to be the light of the world, but to stop blocking it. That's what Jesus says in the opening line. This is the removal of the blocks and obstacles to the awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance. So it's my belief that the reason we get sick and have problems is because we're holding the light in. We're holding our identity together. And when we finally come to a place, which really is pure grace, and it looks really messy, is when you just decide, I'm just going to show up. I'm just going to make mistakes, and I'm just going to be myself. I'm going to be open to receive, like Peter. That was so good. Like that's our fear, a fear of receiving all this love. Like we've learned that love is dangerous. Don't let it get too close, and don't give too much. Because if I start giving you too much love, like I learned as a teenager. Look, you're not even a teenager yet. I was a little girl, and I remember being at summer camp, and I was just exuberant. I was just an enthusiastic, happy little kid, super active, and very beautiful. Like I see the pictures of myself as a kid, and just beautiful. This blonde, curly hair, and you don't know that when you're a kid. You don't know that could be a potential dangerous thing. And so when I remember, I wasn't aware of it until I got to camp, and the boys that were older started flirting with me. I was only 9, maybe. And they were all teenagers, and they were making sexual references, and they were saying things to me, and I used to wear like crop t-shirts and little, short shorts, just 9 years old, cartwheels on the lawn, and just totally free. But when I started to see that my exuberance and enthusiasm and joy was attracting that kind of attention, I learned, oh, that is not safe to be myself. So I shut it all down. I started going inside. I stopped going outside. Like, I started to think I have to protect myself against this kind of thing. And then I started gaining weight right around that age. I started going to food for comfort. You lose your connection. And so the mind training is to start to go through the fear point. Can I be myself? And instead of thinking I have to manage it because I don't want unwanted advances, to start to see, oh, I can be okay if somebody flirts with me, or if somebody starts to receive or give me love back, right? And that is a tremendous fear point for me for a long time. And so you start to really see, like, where have I been blocking the light from extending or coming in? You're watching the mind now. You're seeing, like, oh, I see. Wow, yes. Sickness, it definitely is isolation. That's a sentence from A Course in Miracles. We hide in the body. If I can just like hide inside and not be me, everybody will leave me alone, and then I'll be safe. But you're not safe in the body, right? Who's safe in the body? No, you're not safe at all, because the light that you are needs to flow. It wants to be in total extension and expansion and flowing with all our brothers. And so when we block it, that's when the problems start. So it says, the only way you can be happy is to find your function and fulfill it. So your function is to be happy. And then it says, the teacher of God has taken accepting the atonement for himself as his only function. So you see, Jesus says a lot of different functions in here, but they're all the same. Forgiveness is my function. Happiness is my function. Joy is my function. My function is to be the light of the world, the function given me by God. Accepting the atonement is my only function. So what does that mean? Accepting the atonement. Does anyone know here? No. It means accepting my... Oh, Bill knows. I knew somebody knew.
Well,
And
accepting the atonement for myself is accepting my wholeness, accepting the self, not as person, but accepting the self as I am in God, as holiness, as presence, as I amness. It's the awareness of love's presence, knowing itself as awareness. That's the closest I have come to accepting the atonement, is to know thyself, and acknowledging, just with the acknowledging of that, shifts from the personhood to the selfhood of Christ's mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, perfect. And that's it. So I accept the truth of myself. So what does that mean? Like, that's what Bill says. I accept the truth of what I am. I accept my wholeness. I accept my innocence. I accept my holiness. And in the beginning, the mind just goes like, no, all the mistakes I've made, all the guilt I feel, all the judgments, I'm not good enough, I'm this, I'm that, it wants to take you back to the body identity that has been living in a timeline. But I accept the atonement is I accept the truth of what I am. I am holy. I am light. I am love. I am one with God. That's what you said, Peter, this morning. Like, that's the end. And why couldn't, for 25 years almost, I do that? Because the roots are so deep. The roots of being a body identity are so deep. The addiction to conflict is so deep rooted in the mind that even if you say, I want it more than anything, that was all I kept saying for all those years. I want the peace of God. It's all I want. I don't want this stuff. I don't want fame. I don't want money. I just want the peace of God. I just want that experience. I couldn't have it. I know. It's funny. But then years later, my friend Max, who's in Australia, he's like, Natoli, you don't want it. I'm like, yes, I do. He goes, no, you don't. You don't want peace, otherwise you'd be having it. You love conflict, Natoli. You're totally addicted. You're a total addict. And I was like, okay, like maybe, because I trusted him. I knew me. He had been around me for a long time. I was like, oh, maybe. Like, maybe that's my comfort zone. Being in conflict and having problems to fix. Good at that. And to let go of my defenses and let everything be exactly as it is. Really? Like, and then you realize, okay, I've done everything else. I think I'll try this way for a little bit. Like, and that's why I always teach an experiment ground to test out these ideas. Like the 40-day program and the healing cure and living in purpose, like all the programs that are available. Course in Miracles, 365 lessons. So A Course in Miracles is an experiment ground. Towards the end, who's never done the workbook lessons here? Has everybody done them? You have, but you're doing them, right? No. Oh, you're going to start them though, you said. What? Okay, good. Oh, that's right. You're going to finish the text first and then the lessons, which is the way it says to do it. That's so good. But what it says at the end of the workbook lessons, I'll just tell you. I don't know why it doesn't say it at the beginning, but it says at the very end, towards the epilogue, it says, Jesus says something like, and I think it's in the section, What Am I? And it says something like, and as we come to the end of this 1 year, we dedicated to God together, you and I. And I don't know why it doesn't say that at the beginning, but that is what it is. Like A Course in Miracles is each one of us dedicating 1 year with Jesus, our Christ mind, to God. And then to take the journey and discover for yourself what happens when you make yourself available to these new thoughts. And what happens in the 1 year? The old thought system begins to crumble. So on the journey to accepting your function as what you are, I love the Course so much because Jesus points it right out. He says it in the text, there will be a period of disorientation. We've all experienced that, right? As your body identity self and the world that you constructed to keep love in and keep it out, as you open yourself to that thought system going away so that the new thought system can replace it, because you can't have the two thought systems together is what we're told. One has to go. And the only way the old thought system can go is by our own conscious decision. There's no other way. You have to say, I don't want it anymore. I don't want to be in this pain anymore. I don't want to be in conflict. I don't want to hold grievances. And then there's a space where it's like that old thought system just won't go away. And those are the roots. That's why for all those years, I thought, I'm not getting it. But what's happening, actually, that's like the call we were on yesterday on Living in Purpose. The light is actually doing the work while you think you're not getting it. It is actually bringing the roots up, dissolving them down here, like everything starts to feel a little looser, right?
Getting a tan.
Getting a tan?
Yeah, the light. I don't know what it's doing.
Oh, yeah. I'm getting a tan, yes. But yeah, it feels good. Like it's all of a sudden, but what happens is that in this journey, when the dismantling starts to happen, it can feel more disorienting than even before. When you were holding your world together and you thought, okay, I'm managing the fear. I'm keeping fear away. When you start to take this journey, all the fear that you buried starts coming to the surface. It starts coming into your awareness. So before, we basically were like, oh, this is just, I just have to like be okay with the pain. But when it starts to come up and you're aware of it, you can't tolerate it anymore. That's what Jesus says. Like your tolerance level for pain, like it's not what it used to be. Because now you're aware of it. Before you were like, oh, this is just normal. But then you start to realize, oh, this isn't normal. And this is where we lose a lot of people. Not we, us, me, but in the Course in Miracles, people think I must be doing it wrong. Because I asked for love and I'm in more fear than ever. So I guess I'm just a terrible student. And then they go find another book, or then they go back to their old habits. But Jesus says you can't go back to your old habits. Your old life literally disappears. So you try to go back to being how you used to be, judgmental, angry. It doesn't make any sense after a while, right? You're like, oh my God, what am I doing? So now you're in between the worlds. You can't go back, and you're not there yet. So you're in this, what Jesus calls, what's it called? The middle ground?
The borderland?
The borderland. Yeah. So you're in this space, and this is why so many times in the Course in Miracles, Jesus says you have to trust. When it looks like nothing is happening, stand still and tremble not. And the mind is like, no, you have to go talk to that person, and you have to make this situation change, and you have to like speak up, and you have to like make it go this way. And in that place, when you are just like, this is not going the way I like it to go, you feel joy watching the mind. You just feel this tremendous joy instead of being all pissed off, because everything's changing all the time. So that was the teacher of God has taken accepting the atonement for himself as his only function. What if that was your only function? Okay, now we just covered it, and we're going to ask again, since we just covered it, who else can tell me what accepting the atonement is? Nancy, and then Laura.
Laura.
Okay.
To me, it is being all one mind and understanding that everything I'm looking at is me. That's the atonement, and trying to just connect to the light that I am. Funny, I just had this talk with my friend Bonnie and my sponsor on the way here, and she said it is the ancient hatred that's deep in us from our ego that bubbles up. And it's very sad when we have to look at it. Sometimes you can laugh at it, like you said, but sometimes it's sad to look at it and know that I have to release this ancient hatred of the ego saying, you can't trust yourself, you can't trust what you're looking at, so I'm going to tell you what to look at. And atonement is me realizing that the light is there, and that's all I need to look at, and that everyone around me is part of my bubbling up and looking at it through them, through this, and knowing nothing's happening except what I'm, this ancient hatred of that I'm separate and you're separate and you're harming me and you're not behaving for me. So it's just what you just said. And the atonement is that there is only one. And it's there for a reason. Everything is there for some reason. And sometimes that reason just seems heartbreaking to the mind of whatever. And it's that ancient hatred that I think I'm
So
here
what would
alone.
you say, just more simply, for you to accept the atonement? What does that
That
mean?
means for me to constantly know that what I'm looking at I'm looking at it through these eyes. I'm not looking at it through the oneness.
Okay, so
The at oneness.
there's one more step. So accepting the atonement, that's very good. And that's one step. Okay, I accept my perfection. I accept my innocence. I accept myself as I am, not as Laura. And then the function, beautiful, and chills up and down, like then you can go back to what you said about helping others. But the accepting the atonement is simply, I accept the truth of what I am, which is not a body.
Right.
I love you so much.
I love
And
you
now,
too.
Nancy, we just gave you the answer, but let's hear from you.
Well, thank you both for the discussion, because I was tempted to say, you don't need what I thought I was going to say. But for me, accepting atonement is somehow knowing that I am the way God created me. God is love, therefore I am love. And to me, it's not just a once and done thing. It's more like a rick-rack pattern, It's so like, oh, I'm way over here in despair. I can go up a little bit and say, oh my gosh, you mean it might actually be true that God still is in connection with me and loves me, and that I am really innocent and whole and pure? And then I keep doing my thing, and then the next thing I know, it's like, eh. But if I pull my thoughts back to not knowing myself, but also knowing that that self with a capital S includes everybody, and that I deserve it as much as everybody else. The person I think I love the most, and me, and the person I think that is my worst enemy, we're all in the same mix of having been created by God. And all the gifts I have, they're mine. And I can start with God created me, and I am whatever the things I think I have to give.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, thank you. So this is like what you both just described is so perfect, because you begin to see like that's the end. And then he says, now the darkness in me has been brought to light. Now Jesus says, now carry it back to darkness. So we have to bring ourselves to that place where we're just done with process. You just have to do it. You just have to say, okay, wow, like the mind does not want you to do this. Trust me. It wants you to stay in process. It wants you to think, I'm just going to do the workbook lessons one more time. I'm just going to keep forgiving. I'm still stuff coming up for me. And you really have to be the boss of the mind. You have to just get in there and say, end of story. That is ridiculous. I am the light. I am whole and perfect. No matter what the body does, I still, thank you, Nancy, am as God created me. Not I, Lisa, but I, the light. And now this is where my joy comes from, because I have such a joy being the light in this world. It means I don't have to do anything. Seriously. Like I'm just so aware and awake wherever I go. And I'm able to just see where my brother's at and quickly remind him. And that doesn't always mean words. It just means by my presence. And it's not even my presence in the physical. Like it's all happening in the one mind that we share. Bill?
Yeah, it's so interesting when we talk about these things, because it's like we shift into three different places. It's like you identify as the person in one place. You identify as the awake mind, the mind that's on the bridge to holiness, which is the borderland, and the thinking mind that that actually shifts from fear to love. That's still on the bridge. And then there's holiness of being that has no commentary. There's no
Yep.
there's no place to go.
Yep.
There's no welcoming necessary. It's just is. And is too many words. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, right. Totally. So it says, I'm just reading some of the sections that say function in A Course in Miracles. So it says, before miracle workers are ready to undertake their function in the world, it is essential that they fully understand the fear of release. They have a whole section, chapter 25, called the special function. And it says, salvation is no more a reminder than this world is not your home. And it has a whole section in there. And then it says, the Holy Spirit needs your special function. So what I just, have said, what's your function? My function is to be happy. My function is to be the light of the world, a function given to me by God. That's it. The Holy Spirit needs my special function. It doesn't need Lisa Natoli's gifts as a writer and a communicator it doesn't need that. It needs my remembering. And then from my remembering, the light starts to go out. So in my case, as Lisa Natoli, I love writing. I love teaching. I love communicating. It's my gift. Like, I have a great gift of getting people to change their mind and get on board with something. Like, there's a section I read this morning and on page 258 thereabout, it said I wrote it in my journal. The goal of any good teacher, there's a whole section in chapter 7, no, not chapter 7, the part about, maybe it is 7, there's the steps, which the first one is to give all, to have peace, teach peace, to learn it, be vigilant only for God and his kingdom. And it says the teacher's goal is increasing motivation for change. So imagine that if once you say, I accept myself as God created me, I accept my wholeness, I accept my oneness, I accept my innocence, and now you meet others, because you're going to, right? You just start meeting people, and then as the light, you could be such a good listener. You actually find out that you're able to just be with a brother, no problem. And like you, Laura, like you're able to just give them another way of seeing something. So it says on that page 258, it says, be vigilant only for God and his kingdom. This is a major step toward fundamental change. That's on page 256. Yet, it is still a lesson in thought reversal. So these 3 steps basically say, these steps are good, but this is still part of the thought reversal. Only one gift can be offered to the equal Son of God, and that is full appreciation. So who here does that with everyone? No one? Okay, we got one. Anybody else? We're close. But see, that's a good goal. Imagine. And this is what accepting the atonement is. Like, if once you accept the atonement, this is where the uncompromising nature of the atonement is. If you really accept it, not as a concept, but you know your oneness. That's what you were talking about, Peter, this morning. I know my oneness. Not as an idea, as a sentence I read. I know you're one with me, and I know you're one with me, and I know you're one with me, and you're one with me, and you're one. I know you're one with me. So because I know myself, I love you. Total appreciation. because I know we're one. And if I'm not appreciating you, I'm attacking myself. There's no compromise in this work. And you can play around for as long as you like, thinking, I'm not ready for that quite yet. Have fun with that. Because when you come to this place, only one gift can be offered to the equal sons of God. That is full appreciation. The Holy Spirit sees the body only as a means of communication. It says communication equals sharing equals communion. And then it says fear equals attack equals break in communication. So when you're in fear and you're judging yourself or your brother, you're attacking, you've completely broken the communication. And so a good teacher's goal is strengthening motivation for change, first and foremost, because it says only fundamental change will last. A change in motivation is a change of mind, and this will inevitably produce fundamental change because mind is fundamental. And it says the first step in the reversal process, the undoing process, is the undoing of the getting concept. So that's to have all, give all. And then it says the way out of conflict, you ready? Between the two opposing thought systems is clearly to choose one and relinquish the other. So that's where you just make a decision. I'm just going to side with the truth now. I'm going to accept myself as God created me. I'm going to accept my wholeness. I'm going to accept my perfection. And then, like we found on the call yesterday in Living in Purpose, to be gentle with yourself when you fall back. Just to say, okay, these roots are deep. But once you've made the decision to just say, I accept myself, watch how quickly you keep bringing yourself back there. So you'll see, oh, I just judged myself again. Oh, I just attacked my brother. Oh, I just got angry. You're not guilty for that. You're training your mind for the one mind. So I see it's 11:30, and we have some news we wanted to give you guys. We're going to be doing some announcements, and I love you all. And Bill's going to come up here.
Everyone, thank you, Lisa. That was awesome. Oh, so I'm going to give, who's on our mailing list that's getting our new newsletter?
Do you like the newsletter?
Yeah, that's good.
Right?
Yeah, it's nice, right?
It's just everything all at once.
Thank you,
Right?
Therese and Cindy, for putting that together. And we have, so the announcements that you, maybe for the ones that haven't read the newsletter.
We have big news.
Did you guys? Here's the little girl coming out. Bill wants to toss.
What is that?
Oh, yeah, I said we have big news.
Oh,
And then smile.
we have big.
And then a smile face.
So the really cool thing is that we are expanding and we're doing things that are really different from what we've been doing. We're about to launch. We're probably a week away from launching the 40-day app, and that's been being tested for about 2 months. It's very close, and that'll be released. You thinking about a week, Therese, maybe? Maybe. It's pretty close.
Yeah.
We're
Close.
Pretty close. And so we're going to do an app launch party right here in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. We're doing a live event at the Portsmouth Sheraton Marriott on December 14th.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be a half day of Lisa teaching, sharing the content of the 40-day program for the first time live.
And Kelly and Bill for Saturday morning.
And Kelly Russell will be there doing a piece on forgiveness, and I'll be doing the opening and emceeing it. And so that'll be at the port. It's a great spot too. It has all glass windows, and you're looking right at the water and the bridge. It's just a beautiful room that'll hold, I don't know, probably 150 people. And then Lisa is going to follow that the afternoon with she's going to bring content from the Healing Cure for the rest of that day on Saturday. That's a Saturday
Afternoon.
And then she'll have a half a day on Sunday morning so that people can come in from out of town, stay at the Marriott.
No, Sheraton. Oh, well, Sheraton's Marriott now. Yeah.
Sheraton Marriott. Yeah.
So that's December 14th. So it's from 9 a.m. Is it in the morning?
9 to 5.
9 to 12 is the launch party for the 40-day app.
And that's a donation. That's a donation-based event. The Healing Cure workshop that Lisa's doing is
1 to 5.
It's going to be a paid-for event, and I don't know what the price is. She'll have to put that up, but it's going to be reasonable. And the morning is all about the 40-day launch. That'll be live streamed for all of you guys that are watching on live stream. You'll have live streaming of the event, and so that's what's happening with that. And the real big news and the reason I wanted everyone to be here, and the announcements are later, is because we have come to completion with the Friday group. And our last meeting for the Friday group will be December the 6th. So it's the week before that event. And we're going to be making some changes so that we will be doing live streaming events, weekly live streaming events, but we won't be in a building. And we'll be doing it a little bit different, and we'll be having teachers from different places to share with us on the live streaming. And what I will be doing is setting up live event venues so that we can still have a place to meet, but it'll probably be about every 2 months, unless we do a special event. We're going to still do that. And then the other part is that we have a team of people that are being assembled, put together, that will be helping us to put the 40-day live events in different cities around the country so that we can fly into these different cities and Lisa can present this content to the world in a live experience. Yeah. And we will need many volunteers and support people that will help us in that, and we're going to be looking for all of you and all of you that would want to be part of that.
Yeah, and we really want to just hear from you also. Like, how do you feel about that? Like with the Friday group, like, and this actually ties into what I was just teaching, because you begin to see, like, you can hold the space and then maybe you hear something that's like, what? So we've had the Friday group for 6 years now, and every Friday. We've only missed a couple of Fridays because of snow dates. It has been our absolute joy to be here. It has been such a blessing. It's become a community. And we've really been feeling like something's changing. Like we've really been starting to feel like the donations don't come in. Like it's just not paying for itself here. And so we're like, okay, like we're looking to open ourselves up here for listening. And then all of a sudden, you guys might not know this big news, but Unity on the River is selling the entire building. So I don't know when that will happen, but it can happen at any moment. Like they've made the decision for it. And so this is really a place where for us, it's like, all right, But when Bill first started having this conversation with me, I had a reaction. I was like, what? No, I love the Friday group. I love it. But then I was like, watch that reaction. I was grateful because within a minute, I was able to go, oh yes, it'll be different. Like it'll a new space. So Peter, you have something you'd like to share?
Yeah, I'm a little shocked, like you say you initially were. Why would we not find more joy in meeting in person more often?
And it could be that. Like, see, this is where what happens with this work that we're doing. So the mind immediately wants a backup plan. So the mind, it just does. It just was like, no. And you just got here. You've only been here.
Yeah.
Like I thought about you. I was like, Peter, he just got here. We can't cancel the Friday group. We got to keep it going for Peter. But what the mind, it goes, why? Why are you canceling? Why are you this? Why? And then the mind has to, it either goes, let's save the Friday group. We'll all give donations from now on. Let's find another space. Let's do something. Like all of a sudden there might be like an energy of like, oh, but what I'm inviting you to do is to watch the thoughts. So something could happen. Like when we leave an open space and we don't fill it with our ideas, then it's filled with grace. So it could just be that it's like, yes, let's do it. Let's find that. But I feel that in this time, it's just a letting go of something that has just been a huge blessing. So we bless it. We celebrate the space that we've had for 6 years. We celebrate the friendships that we've made here. We celebrate like all that we have. And then we don't fill it with more. So, and we're going to be here until 2 more months. Like unless Unity sells the building before that, and then it. Okay, I don't think so either. But this is the mind training, just to watch the mind. That's why Jesus said, "I have to leave you." Like we feel safety here, right? It's more safe in a community. It's more safe in a group. Maggie.
Yeah. So
The microphone.
funny. Miss Shirley already knew this. I did too. Yeah, so Miss Shirley was saying to me, I don't think the Friday group is going to be here much longer. And it's not because you said anything. I find, thank you very much for all the time that you've given us. Okay, so we need to say that too. Okay, so there's that part of it. And I know for myself, and I know as we are one, okay, there's a big transition going on right now.
Exactly.
Okay?
Yep.
An attachment to a person or a group or something that we're doing is not always something we don't have to hold on so tight. That isn't, because we need to be open to, where are we being directed and where do we need to go? I mean, I just told Peter about the group. So yes, he's new and he hasn't had the opportunity that long, but we have the Sunday group that even if church isn't here, and there are other groups that will be. For me, my mind does not do, I'm not doing Facebook. I'm not doing, I'm not going in the computer, and I never have gone and listened to your things. I did the 40 days. But I mean, other than that, I'm choosing for myself to get out of all that busyness. The cell phone, the computer, the whole thing. It just, for me, it serves so I can be peaceful.
Yep.
And yes, if you had something once a month or had something every other, and we got together, we would come together, just like we go down to Vicky Poppy's occasionally, and we get together as a big group,
Yep.
I think it's, you're listening to your needs and what you've been doing, and you don't know what you're going to end up presenting, what your next step is.
Yep. And I actually love what you just said, Maggie, because I've been getting the feeling also of being in person. It's been something that's coming to me of the importance of getting off the computer, even though I love that we have that element. So we don't, we have to pay for the Sheraton. So we'll change things. Like we've been paying for this space. Like this is about a $700 a month space for us to pay, not including the live stream, not including anything else. So it's these things do cost money. So we will have to change something. And something that I've always been wanting is like for it to always be free. That's how I've wanted it to be. But somehow there's a connection, and I see it with myself. I said to Bill, how many things I'm inspired by, I never think to give the person money. Never. I don't think, I see something on YouTube by somebody who's changed my life. It doesn't equate, oh, I probably should, not even probably should. It's like there's nothing in me that goes, I'm going to give to this person financially. And I wish we lived in a world that did that naturally, like us all helping and us all giving.
It never started being about the money.
Never, and it still isn't.
It really is, as all of you know, the attendance in here has been going down to a point where there's not a support physically to support this space. And people come, they go, they come, they go. But when it diminishes to the point where you notice the attendance is down, maybe your assignment here is finished. Because I looked at 8 venues. As soon as I heard that Unity was going to be for sale, I listened to the recording of the meeting. I've been actually attending online so I could see what was occurring here. I went and looked at 8 places looking for a replacement for this. And as I'm looking at all these great places, I looked at some really great venues. I was excited about a couple of them. And then suddenly it fell in that I was really efforting to make this happen. There was a lot of efforting involved. And then Spirit told me that maybe we're finished here. Maybe this is a completion. And thank God that Peter got here before we left, because this was a spark. This guy's off and running, man. He's off and running like a jet stream. And there's no accidents in any of this, and there's no accidents that the exact and perfect experience and whatever we're to do next is being given to us. Just like Maggie said, we don't really know what it is. We're allowing whatever is next to unfold, and we're here in service. This is our life's work, and whatever that is, we're in service to it, and we're open to the guidance of Spirit to show us the way.
And
that's the way it works.
What's interesting too is that this is the situation selling Unity on the River. It came down to financial. It's just like we don't have the financial support that's needed to support the building. And so they have to make some hard choices. And like, as you know, it's every week, please give donations here at Unity. And when you start to see, I guess, and then I get to see, like, am I making it go? Like, do I still want to just keep it going? Or do I trust enough to just let my hands off the wheel and say, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you,
we have Laura.
Yeah,
we have, and then.
Well, I certainly enjoy everything here. It's definitely helped me grow, as your 40-day thing has, and I've turned so many people on to the 40-day in AA. It just brings me to AA. We're self-supporting through our own contributions. We keep AA going since 1939. It's never allowed people to give it money. Even when a lady left them $2 million, they'd say we can't take it because it's self-supporting through our own contributions. But my take is AA online just doesn't work as well as when you're in person with these humans that are on the light path. There is a certain light and connection. This is just my opinion, and I get it in this room too. Not to say that I don't I get it in certain AA meetings, and I've been doing it for 31 years, and it works. And I've tried online, and it doesn't work. But I've done things online, and whenever I go around the world, I always find an AA meeting, no matter where I go. Because to me, and Jennifer Hadley had said it at the Course of Miracles, more meetings need to be started so that humans are in contact with humans that are trying to do this light work, because we band together, right? And that's how I tried to explain it to someone. If you're in a regular AA meeting, there might be 30% of the people in that meeting that intend to be a miracle worker or a light worker. If you go to a big book step study meeting where you can't speak unless you've done the work, now you're in a meeting with about 80% of the people. If you come in this room, you can feel the light. These are people that mean business that come in here on Friday. I feel it.
Yep.
I know it. We hear it.
Yep.
And so I would love to see this move to a smaller place. I mean, we've had to do it in AA where we've had to we're in church basements all the time. And we've had to end some meetings because there was no attendance. But it's also, we've had to say at meetings, we need you to dig deeper because the rent's gone up to $50 a month or whatever it is we're paying where we are now on Tuesday nights. I personally have no problem if someone said, we're going to have a meeting, like you said, at the Portsmouth thing or whatever, and this is how much it's going to be. I would pay every Friday because I love being with light workers and among them. It's crucial to me. It's crucial to my recovery. It's crucial to my light work. It's crucial for me to be able to help other women.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion. And I think it all meshes together. It's the same reason when I go on spiritual cruises, I take an Abraham cruise, or I go on a trip, it's a healing cure trip or something. Those things mean the world to me, being in AA. That's just my take on it.
Yeah, and I just want to say, like, AA has a different price everywhere they go. So everybody can give $1. And it all works out fine. So AA has a totally different price to use this space, and we pay $100 a week. And so if everybody gave $1 in here, we'd only bring in $20 today. We typically bring in $30 a week in the box. That's how much we bring in. We've been we've had over the years, there's been a handful of supporters who have kept it going, like they're giving the $250 check here and there.
What if you did charge though?
Well, we've thought of that, but that's where we're really going, like, okay, we would love to keep it free. That's always been what we've wanted. Just as everybody, like the last video I just did, over like 3,500 people viewed it from this Friday group. What if everyone gave $1?
Yeah.
But they don't. And I don't want to ask for it because I'm like, why don't
Everyone in this room was told you need to pay $15 every Friday.
But that's a lot of see, that's the thing. For me, what it is, when you put a price on something, like, I would rather it be everyone really feel within, what can I give? Some people can't give any. And I would love for the spaces to be like that, where it's like those who have are supporting so that it's totally open, so you don't feel like I have to give $10 when I come. But for some people, giving $100 is easy. So it's a change in the mind of how we operate, not here in the Friday group, but in the world. What?
Let's tell them it's an AA meeting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I've said to people, why don't people?
Tell them it's an AA meeting because I'm here and I'm in AA. So there you go. It's an AA meeting.
I mean, it would be nice if we could find spaces, like if maybe across the board people said, let's charge. Okay.
We need to wrap it up.
I just want to thank you for raising awareness. Thank you for the opportunity for this discussion because it's continuing your work to raise awareness.
Mm-hmm.
My first meeting here, you came up to me and you said to me, I love you. And in my mind, I said, WTF. What is his problem?
Yeah.
And I just want to say to you, I have never forgotten those 3 words. And I love you, Bill Free. Thank you so much. But I also want to say, as much as I love coming to these meetings, and I do usually work on Friday, can't be here, but I took the 40-day transformation. Huge impact and movement in my transition in my life led to a transformation, and that was all online.
Thank you.
So wherever you go, I'll be there.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
So
Thank
if
you.
everybody
And
can
here's
join,
the
we're
thing.
gonna make a circle.
Let me
okay.
finish.
Okay.
This is the thing. I'm very sensitive to being moved, and I know this movement is not an accident. And there are changes that are going to take place in this space to make room for other things to happen to help others, to bring the light in the direction where Spirit is guiding. And just as you just said, the 40-day, I still feel that the 40-day program is the flagship of the Teachers of God Foundation. And I spoke to 3 people, besides hearing what you just said, 3 people in the last 2 days, the 40-day program changed their life. And it's my intuitive that says this needs to become something else, and it needs to be available in the form of the 40-day program so that it lights up consciousness, because it's so gentle, it's so available, and she became just an instrument for the message that so beautifully directs people just in a gentle way into their spiritual understanding, their first awakening experience, and also dismantling for many people. But I feel that we are just, it's like uncluttering, that we're just providing the space for Spirit to say, okay, here's what you're doing. Yeah. Because we're not totally clear, except for the fact that we're clear that this is ending on December the 6th, and it's a board decision from the Teachers of God Foundation, and it's not bill-free, and it wasn't an argument in the board meeting, and it wasn't an argument here. Everyone is getting the same sense that this is complete. A new assignment is unfolding.
And anybody can ask us anything. Like, we really wanted this always to be a space of transparency. The decision was just made. So it was just made last Friday in the board meeting. So this was something we knew, okay, we really wanted to, because already you can see that people start talking behind the scenes. So as always, like, we're here for you always. We love you totally.
And live streamers, there's an answer for, you're not actually, these guys are going to affected way more than you are, because there is a plan that's developing so that we will have a live streaming event for Fridays. So you guys just sit tight. We'll have an email coming out to you, and we'll have an email coming out to everyone here. And thank you all for being such a great support for us these many years. We've been here over 6 years, and it's been awesome. We're not finished. This is just a new chapter.
Yeah.
So if everybody
So
can
everyone
join
stand
me.
up, and we'll have a closing prayer, and live streamers, we'll be right back. Exciting. Thank you. Yes. Can we close the circle, please?
Come on, Maggie.
Okay, so if everybody can just feel your feet on the floor of this beautiful space called Unity of the River, which is going through a huge transition. We've had our feet on these floors for a long time, and it's brought us together. And we're so grateful that we are in a transition. Thank you, Maggie, for that. A very big transition, and it's bigger than we could ever imagine. And it's a transition in our minds. As we transition from body identity to the self that we are, knowing our oneness, our wholeness, our holiness. And we remember that we are here only for this one function of being the light of the world. And that whatever comes up, whatever is in front of us, whatever chaos, whatever news, we realize that we have a solid foundation now in God, in Christ, in truth, in love. And the center is within you. And so I give thanks for all of you here, for everything that we are remembering as children of God, as we allow ourselves to receive. Thank you, Peter. We're now receiving the love of God. And now we have the courage to give the love of God. We allow this love and this peace and this light to extend through us out into the world. And we say amen.
Amen. Amen. And we'll say the unity prayer.
Yep.
Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
Love you
Amen.
guys.
Thank you, everyone. I love you. I love you, live streamers. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week. We'll see you all next week.
You said something about having us up. Could we have a time at your house that just